Assalamu alaikum everyone and good evening. This is Dr. Kiran Hashmi again from the Scholars Education Consultancies platform. Again, as I told you yesterday only, we meet every Sunday and Saturday. So today we are here again with a very interesting topic to discuss, and we have with us another student of mine. As I told you earlier that I'm inviting my students these days to share their learning, their expertise and their potential. So we have with us Numan. Welcome, Numan.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so Noman has been my student. I taught him in the B.Ed program. He was pursuing his B.Ed degree. A very passionate teacher, a person who is very much into history and Pakistan studies. My challenger in the classes, and he used to challenge me on each and every little thing that we used to discuss in the class. So it's quite a long association now, for about, if I'm not wrong, 3 to 4 years, and we have been together.
Yes.
Though I'm not anymore associated with that institution, but my students are still connected with me. So Roman, thank you very much for being here. Thank you very much for taking out time, and thank you very much again for accepting my invitation to share. So everybody,
Thank you
today's
for
topic, as I
inviting
did
me.
tell you earlier, it is also I know you're always welcome. All my students are always welcome. You know, you people are my life. I breathe when I'm with my students. So this is
Yes.
always a pleasure, and believe me, it is so good. It is such an overwhelming feeling when you have your students there, and when your students showcase their talent. I think this is the proudest moment for a teacher. So thank you, Numan. As always, I'm saying now, everybody, as you can see, it is appearing on the ticker that it is the session for today is on game-based learning in modern education. Numan, there's a lot of noise coming from your side. Can that be controlled, please? There's a lot of noise coming in. Okay, we can't hear you. Unmute your mic, please. Right. So
I'm
Numan,
saying just give me 30 seconds. I will change my position.
sure. Sure. Thank you very much. So by the time Numan is just um, rearranging his position, because there's a lot of noise, background noise coming, and the voice is not clear. Let me just have a conversation with you all, everybody. We are, during these pandemic days and during this time of COVID, we are actually working more on helping teachers and parents learn technology integration, and specifically supporting children at different levels. This is what we are up to, and this is the reason why the webinars that we are bringing for you all are specifically designed to cater this need. The session that we did yesterday was on STEM, which was science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, and how, as adults, as parents, as teachers, and as students, we can help students learn different concepts of mathematics, science, engineering, and technology together in a more integrated manner. Today, Noman will be sharing us game-based learning, and Noman will actually be walking us through a number of various games that we can use while we teach. Now, those games, some of them are okay. Some of them are actually manual games, but most of them are technology-based games. Now, technology-based games, why we thought there's a need to learn technology-based games? Because we are all into the era of technological learning, teaching and learning. So that is the reason why Noman has been requested to prepare, and then he has come up with something very interesting, which I would now like to share. So Noman, just 1 to 2 minutes. Okay, just 1 to 2 minutes of little introduction, and there you go. The audience would really like to listen something good. And Zara, welcome to the webinar, and believe me, it's going to be a good learning session for all of us. So Naman, just introduce yourself, please.
Thank you so much. And first of all, I would like to show my gratitude for inviting me. I've been following your page and I've been attending your webinars. So thank you so much. All your guests have been enlightening us with the topics which are not discussed in the streamline. So thank you so much. And as Kiran shared that I have been a student of her in Notre Dame Institute of Education. I have did my B.Ed honors 2.5 years from that institute. I have specialized in English and Pakistan studies, and currently I've been teaching in multiple online forums and looking forward for this session.
Thank you, Noman. I think this was a good introduction. Let's begin. So please All yours. Take your time. And announcement to everybody, as always, we do appreciate your comments and queries. We always try to take them during the session, but generally our procedure is that whatever your concerns, queries, and questions are, we take them towards the end. So please feel free to share and invite others also for this session. So Noman, all yours. Are you sharing your screen, Noman?
Yes, I'm trying to.
Okay, so
So
just go.
do I need
Yeah.
to open that presentation in
Yes, yes,
Google?
yes, yes. First of all, share screen. You need to first share screen and go to the screen. Okay, screen slides. Share screen.
Yes,
Okay, have you? But I can't see it here.
just a minute.
Sure. There's a there's an I. Okay. Yes, yes. It's here. It's here. It's here. Great. So if you can
So
kindly put it up on, Numan, just put it up on slideshow, please, so that it's visible.
now is it
Thank you.
visible?
Yes, absolutely. All the best.
It
Go
is.
ahead, please.
Okay, thank you.
You're
So,
welcome.
as Kiran told already, that the topic for today is game-based learning in modern education. Let's move forward. Okay, so before jumping on to the game-based learning or game-based education, first of all, we need to understand the basic differences between these three terminologies: games, serious games, and educational games. So, games is basically a play in which there are certain rules and players or students play by following that rule, and what will be the outcome? One will be the winner. So generally, we have all played some kind of game since our childhood. Now coming on to the serious games is basically whose objective is not to have fun or any kind of entertainment. It gives some kind of learning, or you learn or you practice a skill through a serious game. So a serious game is not necessarily a educational game, because as you can see in the description as well, that the serious games are mostly used in educational field, defense, aeronautics, science, or it can be used in any of the fields or any of the domains. So its purpose is to train a firefighter crew in an emergency situation, or train a sales team, or teaching mathematics, or learning or practicing a language. So ultimately, what is a serious game whose objective is not to have fun or entertainment? Okay, now coming on to the educational game, which is a purpose for today to understand the educational games and the theory behind it and the research behind it. Okay, so educational games are basically designed purposefully for a purpose to fulfill some kind of I will give an example to explain an educational game, and then we can come up to the definition. So basically, if I will play any kind of game word search. So what is a word search? In word search, we find some words. Those words are related to, we can say, geography. In geography there are many terminologies. So what will a teacher do? The teacher, he or she, will prepare a word search game. The words which will be which the students have to find are related to geographical terminologies. So at the end, students will find those words, and then teacher can explain those words. In this way, the students learn those terminologies related to geography by not through a traditional way, but through a games. So in educational games, they are intentionally designed for the purpose of education, and some kind of educational values are giving through it. Like we know some of the values or some of the skills which we can learn or which we can instill in ourselves through education is problem solving, critical thinking. All these kinds of skills are learned through educational games, along with the curriculum or some kind of content. So not just the skills, but also some kind of content or the part of a curriculum. Okay. So moving forward, shedding light, some more shedding light on the educational games. So games that incorporate curriculum content or other educational material are referred to as educational games, as we discussed earlier as well. That it incorporates some kind of curriculum content. It's very necessary. Educational games cannot be called an educational game if it does not deliver some kind of content. Like I have given one example here as well, that chess is a very good game, but it is not an educational game. Why it is not an educational game? Because it does not deliver any content or any curriculum material. Yes, we can improve our logic skills, our reasoning, other traits that are valued in education. All these skills are necessary for a good student to learn, but chess only focuses on these kind of traits or these kind of values, but it does not focus on any content or any curriculum material. So it cannot be classified in or classified as an educational game. Okay, so we as teachers use many games in our classroom, in our institutions, and I would like to also share that it is important to note that during this quarantine, all the schools of majority of the schools have come to the point of online teaching. So in the online teaching, educational games play a very vital role. Why? Because during the online teaching, you cannot totally focus on each and every student as we would have done in face to face in our classrooms. So it is important to incorporate some kind of games, whether you are teaching face to face or during an online classroom. It's very necessary to incorporate games, and why games and what kind of games we will discuss later as well. Okay, so I have done some research on games in education or gaming in education or game-based learning in modern education. But the thing is, in recent years, many researchers or many educationists have started to done research on this topic. But the problem is it's not as widely spread as the other topics of education are considered. I don't know the reason, but it's still very new topic for research in particularly education, because as I have mentioned here as well, that like the learning outcomes of game-based learning have been researched, or or what is the learning potential of a particular game design, because of course when games are used, a certain or a particular game design is focused. So those are studied and those are researched. But the problem is that the practices of teachers are not very focused. Like what is the teacher doing before, during, or after the gameplay are missing in the pedagogical consideration. So it is very important for researchers that they should research on this field as well, that they need to go in depth. Like many researchers or thousands of researchers are basically that a particular game design or a particular game is used, so a teacher is using a game design in this way, and this is the result. But what the teacher is doing, what the student is doing, and what is the outcome, what were the prior understanding of the teacher, or what did teacher do before designing that particular game, is not very much focused and is not very much researched by the researchers. So I think that in the 21st century, and especially in the last 10 years, the researchers have started giving focus to this topic. So we can hope that in the upcoming years we can see many researches related to gaming education or game based education as well. Okay. So going further, but before going further, I would request you all, to all the listeners, that if you have any comments or any questions, you can always share your comments and ask questions in the comment box as well. Okay.
There's one, Numan, there's one while you were sharing about different kinds of games. So there's one which I would like to share with you. Have a
Sure.
look if you can see that, please. Can you see that? What about Scrabble? Munir is asking, what about Scrabble? It helps in
Okay.
developing vocabulary, but may not necessarily cover aspects of curriculum. So is it not educational game?
Okay, so now it is upon the teacher. Now, for example, if some kind of words are focused in the Scrabble, that, like, if I'm a teacher of English language, and I am now playing Scrabble in my classroom, so I would ask my students, just an example, I would ask my students to just make words of from a particular topic. So if the words are made from a particular topic, so I can link that particular words through that topic, and then content can be delivered by using those words. So now that Scrabble game can be classified as an educational game. I hope that I have answered the question.
Okay. All right, let's move because this is the question. So let's
Okay.
continue.
Okay. Okay. So this is one more important term used in researches, and it is important to know that what is the difference between gamification and game-based learning, which we will discuss after this. So what is gamification? So gamification is something like to use only game elements, like incentive systems, like points, or like a leaderboard or a scoreboard, to engage students in a particular activity, or in a classroom, or in online teaching, through online teaching. So just I have given an example as well, like when maths teacher is giving a maths homework, so what that teacher can do is make learners aware that if you will complete this particular homework, so you will get this kind of points, or you will get 5 stars if you will complete on time, 4 stars if you will not complete on time, and any kind of these kind of things can be done by while giving homework. So what is it? It is not a game, but just certain game elements are used in a classroom. So this concept is called gamification. I have given one more example of gamification here as well, that Duolingo. I hope that many of you will be aware of this. This is an application as well as web-based page as well. What is Duolingo? So basically, through Duolingo, you can learn a language for free, and the languages which you can learn through this are given at the bottom of the this picture, that Spanish, English, and Japanese, Dutch, all these languages can be done. But why I have given an example in the gamification, it's because while exploring and while learning a language in Duolingo, you can, or the research or the instructors in Duolingo, what they do is, if you will do something right, they will give you a point. If you will not do something right, they will not give you a point. So like, it is not a game, but certain elements of a game is incorporated in this application or in this website. So this will be an example of gamification. I hope that gamification is clear, that only some of the gaming elements are used, like incentives, points, and all those things. Okay. So moving forward, now this is the main thing. This is the main topic which I want to convey today, because in recent years,
Uh,
much research has also
Numan,
been
there's
done
a
on this. Yes, Kiran.
No, man, sorry. There's a comment which is related just to gamification. So I really want you to look at it before you move on. So
Okay.
Amna is saying during this pandemic situation, I used to share links to play online with respect to the topic, and by advising them to play after the class in free time to develop the understanding. And I received very positive results and responses from students as well as parents. So yes, playing games during class and currently online can input a positive effect in learning and students.
Exactly, exactly. We teachers in Pakistan have not realized the importance and the positive which we can get by incorporating games especially during the online teaching, because there are tons of games available on the internet related to every topic which we teach: English, science, mathematics. So all these games need to be incorporated in the lesson plans by teachers, and especially like to revise a certain topic after the class as well. Like Yamna has mentioned that a teacher can fully describe a topic or fully teach a topic, and after teaching the certain particular topic, what he or she can do is just give a particular game for revising that particular topic which was taught in the class. So it is a very good way for the revision as well. Okay.
Yes.
So coming on to the game-based learning. So as I was saying, that this topic is very much researched nowadays, and it is used by many researchers around the world, not only in the Western countries but also in the eastern part of the world also. Okay, so what is game-based learning? To simplify the definition of game-based learning, it is a type of gameplay with defined learning outcomes. If you need to incorporate a game into your classroom, so the learning outcomes should be defined. If the learning outcomes of a game are defined, then that game or the particular design or now the particular environment of the classroom, whether online or face to face, that will be called as game based learning. Why? Because you are incorporating games, but the process is clear into the teacher's mind, because teacher is aware that I have to uh, 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 give or teach these objectives, or these topics, or these outcomes need to come at the end of the class by teaching through a game. So a topic is taught through a game, but the learning outcomes are very well defined. That means that teacher is aware that what I am doing. If teacher is aware, then that overall environment of the classroom will count it as game-based learning. Okay, so just like the example which we discussed in the gamification, like while giving homework to the students, the points and stars were used in the gamification. But what will happen? Just a minute. Just give me 30 seconds. My internet is not working properly.
Right. So by the time Noman is rejoining us, because his internet is connectivity is slightly slow, let me just respond to two important topics, comments that have come in the chat box. So Amna, thank you very much. This will be a great support if you could share some games that are available online, which you have already tried and tested. And it would be extremely good if you could also talk about them. I think this is something very important for teachers to know, because you see the resources are all available around us. But the problem comes how in terms of using it. So if you are sharing the links, I would appreciate if you could take out time and also share how to use them. That will really be a great support. And Atasab, your question that can I have the PPT? The video is available on my page. That's your Skillers page. And it will also be available on the YouTube channel. All the webinars that we are conducting here on the Facebook are actually available on the YouTube channel. So you can simply go there. The name is the same, the Skillers Education Consultancy. And then from there, you can download the videos, you can see the videos, and you can have it for your future reference whenever you need. Because these are intellectual properties of the presenters. So I don't think they'll be able to send the material to you, but this is how the video recording is available for everyone. So I have another comment by Zamarud. Zamurad, welcome back. Thank you very much for joining me in almost every webinar. Zamurad and other students like Amna and my regular viewers, this is really very encouraging to see you all there and supporting what we are doing. So yes, learning with playing is a very important role. I just want to share what Zamurad has stated. So this is a message, and yes, it learning with playing is a very crucial role. Absolutely. Learning fosters cognitive development. Absolutely. Game-based learning actually supports constructivist learning approach. Absolutely. So you see, there are various things through which we can connect in using game-based learning. Okay, Noman will be joining us in a minute. Everybody, if you have any other questions, please feel free to ask, and I'll be responding to all of them. Right. So, any other question or any other comment, everyone? Anyone? All right. So, Noman is back with us. Noman, there was just a little comment that was again supporting the idea that we are talking about here, game-based learning. And yes, Zabuddha, this is the reality that unfortunately our mindset is that we are wasting time when we are into games. But technological games and education-based games are very different, and they play a very different role. And yes, they are very, very important in cognitive development. So over to you,
Exactly.
Numan, one more time.
Yes,
So
thank you.
you're welcome. Are you sharing your screen again?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Zamarat. I came to know yesterday that it's you. So definitely I'll be using your name. Yes, Sani, game-based learning is very interesting. Absolutely. It is fun. It's not only fun, but constructive. It is a part of constructivist learning, where students are actually into the mode of creating knowledge. And that is what we want in 21st century. Gone are the times when we used to teach the students. Now we facilitate, and game is one way of facilitating students. Right, Roman. So please, let's
Exactly.
start. Yes.
So while continuing about game-based learning, so I was saying that in gamification, only points and stars were used to give the homework. But what will happen in the game-based learning? That will be the redesigning of the homework activities in some time. There will be conflict, artificial conflict, which will be created by the teacher, and there will be some kind of rules. Just like I said earlier, that in every game there are some kind of rule. The players or the students have to follow those rules, and there will be some kind of outcome at the end of the game. So what will happen? That the teacher will redesign those homework activities to make them more interesting and engaging. And the concept of game based learning is mostly used for digital games, but not necessary, but mostly it is used to define the digital games, because as we know that nowadays digital games are very common all over the world. In the first world it is very common, but in third world countries as well, they are getting famous, and the teacher are now they are now seeing that they have to incorporate those games if they have to engage the students in the classroom, because what happen when they go home, they play games. We all know that nowadays the children are engaged in PUBG and all kind of games. So what if we make students play digital games or any kind of games in the classroom or after classroom, and make them learn something? Okay, so coming on to the role of the teacher. So, what is the role of the teacher in this whole process? What does a teacher needs to do? So, the first thing is the planning. Of course, planning for me, planning is the most important thing. If the planning is foolproof, then I can say that the orientation, planning, and the playing and the elaboration process will become very easy. And the teacher will know that if something goes wrong, what I need to do if something is going wrong. If teacher and the students are not getting the things, or not able to play the game, or not able to understand the rule, or not able to answer a particular task or particular question. So what the teacher needs to do if the planning is foolproof? So the planning needs to be foolproof. What does a teacher need to do? First of all, incorporating curriculum is very important. The game, the educational games, is not only for fun, as we discussed earlier as well. There needs to be some kind of content needs to be delivered through a game. So it is very important that the teacher is aware that what kind of content I need to deliver at the end of the game, what objectives I should complete teaching. Now it's not traditional teaching. Teacher is not giving a lecture, but it's teaching through a game and delivering a particular topic, but through a game. So planning needs to be foolproof. After planning, there are many more things in the planning as well, and it will be discussed what needs to be done in the planning further as well. So coming on to the orientation. So while coming in the classroom, what the teacher needs to do? Of course, teacher will briefly explain that what is the game, what is the topic, and what will children learn at the end of this game. Okay, so what else happened in the orientation? So basically, the some kind of background information is also given to the student. It's not necessary, but I feel that it's better that a teacher should explain that why the students are playing this game. Now, while researching about this whole scenario and this whole phenomenon, so what I found out there, we can categorize games into three parts, or categorize games as three. So the first kind of games is in which the students are not aware that they are learning something, but at the end of the game, what will happen, that teacher will tell that, see, you have learned this. The second kind, or the second category, is in which the students are aware, but the gaming elements are more as compared to the content. So what happened, that with fun students learn something. And the third category is the the teacher is making students aware that the sole purpose of these games is learning and not fun. So now, as a teacher, if I will jump up to the third category, then my students will not able to learn and they will not take interest in those games. Why? Because the fun part is less and the knowledge or the learning part is more. You need to keep balance. First, starting with some warm-up games or those kind of games which gives less learning and more fun, and then jumping on to the balance part, like there should be fun and learning equally. And then the third part, gradually, when you will now take your students, and your students will be mindful that now the learning part will be more and the fun part will be there. It's not like there will be no fun. Of course, it's game, so there will be some kind of fun, but the fun part will be less, the learning part will be more. So the teacher need to take this gradually. Okay, playing, of course, during playing, teacher will ask questions, teacher will answer the questions of the students, teacher will guide students, teacher can stop the game at any point and can take feedback. And then in the elaboration part, what happens in the elaboration part, the debriefing of the game, that what was the purpose of the game, what we learned in that game, and what can we take lessons from the game to our homes. And reflection is important in every step. After planning, orientation, planning, playing, and elaboration, reflecting or reflection is very important. You need to reflect in your own practices, that whether I was successful in my planning, was I successful in successfully orienting the game to the students, was I successful in making the students play that game, and was I successful, very, this is very important, was I successful in debriefing of the game. Because if the debriefing is not done correctly, then it will be very difficult for the students to gauge in the game next time, because they will see that we just need to play the game, and there is no learning, or there is very less learning. So teacher need to be mindful of all these things. The role of the teacher is multiple. A teacher is an instructor, a teacher is a facilitator, a teacher is a guide, a teacher is a tutor, a teacher is orienter, a teacher is a planner. So all these things need to be in the mind of a teacher while planning and then executing or implementing a game. Okay, so I hope that the game based learning and the role of the teacher is quite clear, or will be quite clear to our listeners. Now, coming on to the aims. So, I would like to ask our listeners as well that what do you think the positives, or what can be the other aims of using games in our classroom, whether it be face-to-face classroom or during online teaching. I was reading some of the comments, and there were many positives highlighted that these points or these positives can be achieved by using games, and this is the some of the aims that why motivation, because each of the students is playing, so that student feels empowered, that I am empowered, and the uh, has basically given me the opportunity to participate in this game. So of course, as a student, I will feel motivated that yes, the teacher cares for me, the teacher feels for me. That's why the teacher is making me playing this game. Students engagement, of course, the most important purpose of the games is to engage students in the classroom as well, enhance visual skills. There are many kinds of games which helps to enhance the visual skills. Like I will share some examples, and I will tell that by these kind of games the visual skills of the learners can be enhance students interaction and collaboration abilities, because we know that most of the activities, not all, but many activities are basically played in pairs, in small groups, in large groups, or even as a whole class. So a teacher can give the sense of collaboration and then an interaction by games. The teacher just not need to that you all should be united, and you all should not fight, but through games they will feel that yes, through collaboration we can do better. And of course, moving on to the modern education, we need to go forward and look behind that the traditional lecture learning method was not very useful. Of course, at that time it was useful, maybe it was the need of the time, but moving forward we need to lessen the monotonous learning methods, and the incorporation of games in the lesson plans is one way to move forward. There are many more positives, or the aims for using games. These were some of the aims which I like, so I shared. Moving forward, role of technology is also very important. So technology is used to simplify and improve learning, but using technology in education does not directly impact the student achievement. So technology should be in line with the curriculum. Like we discussed earlier, that it is very important that pedagogy and curriculum should be in line, because in pedagogy what we are doing, we are incorporating, or we are using a game design, or we are using some kind of games and curriculum. So if both of these things will be in line, then only we will be able to deliver the objectives of the certain topic. So it's very important to not overuse technology in the classroom. Just like that, I have met, or maybe at one time before doing B.Ed, it was my thinking that technology should be incorporated in every lesson plan. It should be used in every classroom. But I was wrong when I did my B.Ed and I read and I explored. So then I found out that there should be a balance. Technology cannot be used in every class. If it is used in every class, then the technology have to be in line with the curriculum in all the lesson plans. It's very important. Okay. So coming on to the creation, that as a teachers we should be able to create a game. Just like there was a question related to the Scrabble part. So Scrabble is a game, but I have to redesign that game, or I have to create a totally new game if I need to deliver some kind of content through that game. So it's very important to create a game or to redesign a game as a teacher. Okay, so we need to take account the educational goals, that what is my goal, what I need to deliver. If I'm not clear, then sorry, if I am not clear that what I have to deliver, what is my goal, or what is my educational goal, then I will not be able to create a fruitful game and then not able to deliver or implement that game or to use that game. The level of the students is very important as well. Like, of course, a game which is played by the students of uh, class 9 and 10 cannot be played by students of class 1 and 2 or the primary classes. So the teacher should be aware that for example what the teachers do, like we search on the internet that I have to teach this particular kind of topic. So the internet shows you some of the results that these games can be played for this topic. And what if what if the level of the students is different for and the activity is different, like the activity was for the higher education students, but the your students are basically primary level students. The topic is same. I need to teach them basically the cell organelles. It is taught in class 5 6 as well, and in the class 9 biology as well. But the games, the level of the students is very important. The level of the students need to be keep in mind while creating or redesigning a game. Like, you need to think that whether my students will be able to uh, complete this game or complete this task in the game or not. You have to empathize with your student, and you need to think like your student, that whether my students will be able to do it or whether they will not. So one more important thing, the games should not be very easy and not very difficult as well. You need to find the sweet spot. That sweet spot has to be that spot in which that students find compelling, that they need to play this game. They feel attracted towards that game because they find that game is not very easy and not very difficult. They will be able to complete that particular task if they will think, and if they will critically think. So it's very important as well. So planning the relationship between the educational and the entertaining part. So we discussed earlier as well that the educational and entertaining part both have to be in there. If the entertaining part is not there, then students will not feel attracted towards that game. The entertaining part has to be there. And these three things are very important: pedagogy, curriculum or content, and game design, as we discussed earlier as well. Okay, so now coming on to the last part of this webinar. So we all know that there are many components of a lesson plan: warm-up, introduction, development, conclusion, assessment, and many lesson plans have different components as well. Games can be incorporated in every component. As a teacher, you just need to think that this is my topic, this is my goal, this is my objective. I need to plan a game. So while planning a game, just be mindful of the things which we discussed earlier, and you will be able to plan a very good game to teach your students a particular topic which is otherwise a very boring topic, like Pakistan studies and history and all these things are very dear to me. And many of the students, if I ask my students that what is the most boring subject for you, 90% of the students answer Pakistan studies or history or social studies. But as a teacher, we need to make it more interesting. And how we can make it more interesting? There are numerous ways to make it interesting and engaging. But one of the ways is to incorporate history games in your lesson plan. There are thousands of games available on the internet which you can use with technology or without technology as well. You just need to be mindful, and you need to just redesign the existing activities, or you need to create new activities. Okay, so there are many types of educational games: board games, card games, role playing games, video games, matching games, trivia games, customized games which we create according to a certain topic. All these kinds of games can be incorporated in our classroom. Okay, so as we don't have much time, I will move forward and share some of the examples. So there are thousands of the games available on internet which we can use with technology or without technology as well. But these examples are those examples which I have used personally. So I can say that these games are very useful in the classroom, and many of these games I have used in the online teaching as well. So my personal favorite is word search. It can be used in the warm up, in the introduction, in the assessment part, or in the development part as well. Just design this word search. It will not take more than 5 minutes to design this activity. This word search on the internet, there are free websites available on the internet. You just need to put those words, and this will be formed. And what you can do, make them find these words, and after they find these words, just like for example, taking the example of respiration, which is given here, just take this respiration and explain it in 2 to 3 sentences or 4 sentences, as you like, as a teacher. So what you are doing, that students have find these words and you are delivering some kind of content through these games. Moving forward, crossword puzzle. uh, we all have played this crossword puzzle, but you can also make free crossword puzzles on the internet as well. Just give hints in across and down. The number of the rows and columns depends upon you, and you can the students learn in a very unique way, in a very interactive way, through crossword puzzle. And this game can be basically played in multiple subjects, whether it's science, social studies, mathematics, English, or any other subject. Hangman, we all have played this Hangman as well. It is mostly used during warm up or introducing a topic. Word scramble. It's mostly played in the earlier classes, like in primary classes, but it can be played in the introductory or warm-up part in the secondary classes as well. Like you can say that, see this, that words are jumbled up, and you just need to find the or the guess the correct word. Okay, last man standing is a very common game. Charades, we all are aware of the charades and Pictionary as well. Charades and Pictionary are very similar. Um, in charades, you need to act, and the rest of the class will guess. Pictionary, you will draw, and rest of the class will guess. Uh, it may seem that it's very superficial kind of games, but no. These games can be used to deliver some of the important topics in your subjects as well. To study further about these games, you can anytime explore on the internet. Much material is available on the internet. Okay, so I have designed this myself. So what is it? I have named this a quiz panel. So what I do at the end of the class or at the end of the chapter or at the end of the week, what I do, uh, every student just need to select a category, easy, medium or difficult, and select a box number. So their boxes are 1 to 10 in each of the category. So in the comment box, what the students can do is select the name of the student. For example, my name is Numan, so I will write Numan, easy, box 10. Every student will write like this, or you can do like this as well, that you can call a student that Roman, please select a category and choose your box, I will ask you a question. So that student will select a category and a box, and then a question will be asked from that particular student, and the other student will answer. If the student will not be able to answer that, then the particular question can be asked from any other student, and these can be done in some kind of competition as well. Like every student needs to select this, and the at the end of the chapter, or at the end of the week, or at the end of the month, the student which has more points or most of the points will win. So it's very simple. I have designed this, and you all can design this as well. And these kind of templates are also available on the internet as well. You just need to search on the internet. It's just need a click away. Okay, tic tac toe. So it can be used in every subject. I have personally used in my English class, and I have used, many teachers used in the math class as well. Like you give a problem, whether addition, subtraction, or any other problem. If the student or the group of the students have answered correctly, then you can put X or O wherever the student may like. So this way, tic-tac-toe can be played. Then Kahoot. I hope that we all are aware that what is Kahoot and how it is played, and it is a very interactive way, very engaging way through which we can assess our students. So these were some of the examples. Now at the end, I need to share one more presentation which I have designed myself. So this is a game which is Tambula. Many of us are aware that what is Tambula. I used to play Tambula in my childhood. I have played very much this game in my childhood. So let's see what does this game is. Tambula. So paper, scale, and pencil is required. What will students do? They will draw this in on a paper, on a piece of paper, this table, this rectangle with 2 rows and 7 columns. Okay, so I have designed this game by keeping in mind the class 9 biology. Okay, so one of the important topic is cell organelles. So what will students do, that in from these 10 cell organelles they will select any 6 and they will write in this box anywhere they like. Moving forward, tissue types in plants. So from these tissue types they will also select any 6 and they will write in these boxes any 6 anywhere they like. At the end, the 2 boxes are left. So what they will do, they will select any 2 of the scientists from the Muslim scientists in the field of biology from these 4 scientists, and they will write in the remaining 2 boxes. What will happen now? Round 1 will start. For example, parenchyma. All the students will cancel the parenchyma in their tables. Like this, they will cancel whatever they will have end of round 1. So after round 1, what I have done, I have put a refresher. This is picture. They have to write most of the things which they have basically noticed. Okay, round 2, parenchyma and all these things. So what will be happening? You will be thinking that what is the use of this game? So while I will call Abdul Malik Asmail, I will just share 1 or 2 contribution of this scientist. while students will cancel in their table this scientist, Sclerenchyma or Ibnulhatham or cytoplasm. I will share that what is the role of cytoplasm in a cell. What will students do? They will learn what is cytoplasm and they will cancel it. So they are learning and they are having fun and they are competing against each other because this is an individual game. The student which will cancel all the games, all the boxes sooner will win this game.
Noman, I'm sorry, we are running short of time. We are just left with 4 minutes.
Okay, and
I'm sorry.
I have complete. So this was the game which I wanted to share. That through this game I have designed it. I used to play this in my childhood, so I customized this game and used this to my advantage to use three topics of my likeness in biology. So this is one of the example. So this is the end of my webinar. I hope that some of the example will be useful to you.
Yes. Thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much, Noman. It was really very good. And specifically the games that you shared, very interesting, very contextual, customized, and user-friendly. Just because we are just left with about 2 minutes, I'm sharing some of the comments that have appeared on the chat box, so you may also have a look at them. And I don't think there are any concerns, but people are generally endorsing what you have said. So this is one comment from Amna while you were sharing the aims for gamification. So she has given the validation for that. While you were talking about moving from aims to validation, this is something that came up from Aline.
Thank
Then
you, Maya.
while we were talking about balance is important, while you were talking about customizing games and contents to your needs, is something where Munir shared this. I'm sorry, I'm just rushing through because we have very less time.
Yes, yes,
Okay,
sure.
I'm sorry for that. Okay, this is while you were sharing the problems that what generally teachers face problems in terms of organizing and devising games. So this is what Amna has written.
Yes, it happens a lot.
Yes, it happens, and we had it today also. So
Yes,
no big deal,
exactly.
no big deal. And we in fact had it 2 weeks back when I had to actually cancel one of the webinars because internet connectivity was terrible that day, and the presenter was in a shock. I mean, it was like a trauma time. But this is a reality, and we need to accept the realities, right? And we need to also
Very
move with
true.
the reality. Right. So again, yes, and agree to most of your ideas. And this is something that I would like to share because Zara was the first to write the comment that she's anticipating some good material. And I think this is what the response is. So Zara, thank you very much. I think this was truly a very interesting session, no doubt, enriching and practical. And what personally, as a teacher, what I liked the most here was that you shared examples. That is very important. So this is something that we all need to know. So thank you, everybody. Noman, once again, thank you very much, and thank you very much, everybody who have always been joining us every weekend. Next week we will come up with something different. Again, something that is relevant, pertaining to the needs of the time. We will be there with you, and obviously we will also be talking about some skill-based learning with you. So with this, thank you very much. Stay blessed, stay positive, and spread positivity around.
Thank you so much, Kiran.
You're welcome.